Up. Number 1, using your order of operations, we do grouping symbols first, which there are none except this negative 24. But that's only one number, so that's not really a grouping symbol. We do exponents or square roots next, so I'm going to simplify the square root of 16, which is 4. And I'm going to rewrite everything else. Multiplication and division is next. We work from left to right. This is multiplication. So this is negative 7 minus, and I'm multiplying 3/4 times negative 24. 3 divided by 4 times negative 24 is negative 18. And then we work our addition and subtraction from left to right. Negative 7 minus negative 18, or negative 7 plus 18, is 11. 11 plus 4 is 15. Does anyone have questions on this one? Okay, next one, grouping symbols first. We have this big set of grouping symbols. Inside the grouping symbols, we have subtraction, multiplication, and addition. We do our multiplication first. 5 minus 6 times negative 4 is negative 24 plus 9. Still have these grouping symbols. We have subtraction and addition. We work from left to right. 5 minus negative 24 is 29. 29 plus 9 is 38. And 38 divided by 2 is 19. Questions on that one? Okay, number 3, grouping symbols first. 3 squared is 9. 4 minus 18 is negative 14. We still need to simplify inside our grouping symbols. We need to get rid of those absolute value. So negative 9. What's the absolute value of negative 14?
14.
There are no more grouping symbols because there's only one number in this one. There's only one number in this one. Exponents and square roots are next. I got rid of these parentheses because that was just a positive 9. I left these parentheses because I need to remember that I'm doing 5/7 times 14. We have addition, multiplication, and addition left. We're going to do multiplication next. Um, 5 divided by 7 times 14 is 10. Addition and subtraction, we work from left to right. Negative 9 plus 10 is 1. 1 plus 10 is 11. If you guys did 5 divided by 7 in your calculator and then cleared it out and then retyped in the decimal and then multiplied by 14, you're not going to get an even answer. If you ever tried to type a decimal in your calculator, which was once a fraction, your answer is going to be rounded and it's not going to make sense. Is there any other questions? Okay, continuing on with order of operations, we're talking about evaluating today. So take out your notes that say evaluating algebraic expressions. Our essential question, so the question that we should be able to answer by the end of these notes is, how do I evaluate expressions when given variables to plug in? So some key words we need to know. First, a variable is a letter that is used to represent a quantity whose value may change or vary. So we use variables to represent different numbers. And a variable could represent any number. An expression is a mathematical phrase that can be made up of variables, numbers, and operations. An expression does not have an equal sign. So expressions and equations are different. Expressions do not have equal signs. We evaluate them instead of solving them. So we simplify expressions. The act of replacing variables with numbers in an expression is called substitution. You may have heard this last year called plugging in. So you plug in variables or you substitute numbers for your variables. And we just learned this yesterday. When you substitute numbers in for variables, you're going to have an expression with all numbers. You still have to follow the order of operations. So the only difference between today and yesterday is that you have some numbers that you have to plug in before you simplify the expression. So example 1 says 5. Parenthesis 2, that says 2W. 2W is 2 times whatever W is, and this time W is 7. So 2 times 7 minus whatever Z is, and this time Z is 5. So I took my expression, I identified the variables, W is 7, Z is 5. I plugged in my numbers for the variable, and now I can solve this using the order of operations. Grouping symbols first. Inside the grouping symbols, we have multiplication and subtraction. So we have 5 times 14 minus 5. Simplify grouping symbols again. 14 minus 5 is 9. Multiplication. 5 times 9 is 45. Question.
I saw on the bonus part of that unit test that it said like one of these, but it didn't give us the W equals or the Z equals.
Yeah, we'll learn how to do things like that. And you'll do a lot of that in algebra. Sometimes they don't tell you what the variables are presenting. You just have to simplify it, and there will be variables in your answer. This is just evaluating, so they'll always give you what the variable is. Okay, number 2, the square root of 49 minus x cubed, and x is 3, times y, and y is negative 2. When I plug this in, I'm going to put it in parentheses, so I don't think I'm doing minus 2. This is x cubed times y, so I need to make sure that I'm multiplying here. Then, this part is tricky. Everyone gets confused. We have a minus here, so I'm going to rewrite that minus, and then I'm going to plug in z, and z is negative 6. So, when I plug z in, I'm going to put it in parentheses. So you still have a subtraction sign from the original problem, but then you have a negative sign. So subtraction, and the number you're subtracting is negative 6. So we have the square root of 49 minus 3 cubed times negative 2 minus negative 6. Once we plug everything in, we use the order of operations, grouping symbols first. Everywhere that has parentheses has only one number inside it, so those don't really count as grouping symbols. So we're going to do exponents and square roots next. The square root of 49 is 7. 3 cubed is 3 times 3, which is 9, times 3, which is 27. Times, I'm going to leave those parentheses around the -2, so I don't think I'm subtracting. Minus -6. So after our exponents and square roots, we do multiplication or division from left to right. We have multiplication here, so I'm going to write 7. I'm going to rewrite the minus sign. And then this is 27 times -2, which is -54. Again, when you have subtraction and your answer's a negative, that's where people get confused. 7 minus -54. Don't just combine these as one subtraction sign. Minus -6. Addition and subtraction, we work from left to right. 7 minus -54, 7 plus 54 is 61. Minus -6 is 67. Okay, so do you have any questions? Alright, I'm going to give you guys the next 10 minutes to do as many of the rest of the problems as you can. So example 3, example 4, and then the 5 problems on the back. Do as many as you can. Maybe start with the harder ones that you think you might get wrong on your own. And then I'm going to put up the answers, and anything you have questions on we'll go over.